let's continue our discussion about using how or what can internet offer to ESL teachers. And here I would just like to give an example of using internet for language teaching, and or in other words, how ESL teachers can use internet for language teaching. Right. Um, of course, this example from an article which is uh, written by Lee and Hart, and you can easily Google out this article and download this one for your reading, right? So they describe their mechanism of using internet for language teaching. So what they did a clever thing. They described, they made an exchange, like it's the name of the magazine, and where they wanted to involve their students into teaching, learning English language, right? So the exchange actually, and this example will help you to think about your own mechanism or strategies of using internet for language teaching. So this magazine offered a platform for both the teachers and the students, just to come closer to each other, right? And this platform offered them to exchange views through discussion board. And I think you would be familiar with this discussion board notion, because while studying this course or the whole program, you are having a discussion board, right? So this magazine was used primarily by Lee and Hart to develop the writing skills of the of intermediate learners. They were at the level of intermediate, so they were given the tasks to write something and contribute for the magazine. And this is how the students, came across the one and each other's writing. So they looked at each other's writing, and they gathered information from one another, and therefore they developed some key required writing skills, right? So this magazine got gathered some highly informed material produced by ESL students, and this is how internet can offer uh, uh, ESL teachers a rich resource for language teaching, right? And there was a sort of bulletin and discussion points where the students were asked to give news and then make discussion about those bulletins. So this is how, I mean, there are a variety of ways where we can keep engaged our students into English language learning processes, right? And this magazine offered a sort of cultural awareness to the students, whereby when they exchanged their writings between one another, they came across, the topics were relevant to their personal profiles or their demographic, needs. So they came across some information which was relevant to their cultural. So therefore, they got some insightful discussions, and there was a sort of chain of stories to be maintained by Lee and Hart throughout this magazine. So thereby, the whole point of discussing this article in brief here is just to make you aware of different strategies which are at hand, which we can use for language teaching. And there was a learning resource center apart from the magazine, where the students were asked to read materials and exchange each other. And this was done in the form of electronic, resource center, sort of lab, where the students were asked to come and sit and read materials and have discussions with the teacher. And there were some comprehension checks. So therefore, apart from writing strategies, we can have some reading sessions as well, and we can have some grammar tutorials as well. So overall, this example, although this example apparently it looks very brief one, but it gives us a sort of idea how we as English language teachers can devise our own strategies and mechanism to engage our students into language learning through internet.